Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
July 6, 2020, the DOJ and SEC Update Edition. First up, from the Washington Post, is Walt Disney Company facing a lot more than a lost summer? The article asks, is the company now in an existential crisis? The results from the Disney's fiscal third quarter, which ended Tuesday, will probably be dismal, but a growing number of voices are starting to ask whether a more fundamental change is brewing, a change that will affect how Disney will have to move beyond one bad quarter. They're wondering whether a company built heavily on a foundation of in-person gatherings and the peddling of inoffensive utopia that exists largely outside racial identity can be effective in a prolonged period of isolation and fulmination. Disney has to figure out how to remake itself and get in front of audiences. I frankly would not have thought that inoffensive utopia would become offensive, but apparently some are wondering in the era of Black Lives Matters and the murder of people, African Americans such as George Floyd, that Disney can continue to peddle the same wares that they've always peddled. Maybe not. Next up, 1MDB makes an appearance as Beverly Hills hotel bought with looted money goes on sale. The Viceroy L'Hermitage Beverly Hills was once owned by J.Lo, and it's certainly a very high boutique hotel, and now it is for sale. Half the proceeds will go to the U.S. government. Half the proceeds will go to the government of Malaysia. The property was commandeered from J.Lo in his settlement agreement with the United States government to return properties purchased with purloined funds from 1MDB in the United States and at other locations across the globe. So another high-end product that was bought by J.Lo with money stolen from 1MDB is going to go back on the market. In the New York Times, they ask, is the 5-day office week over? Most workers are in no hurry to return to the office full-time, even after the coronavirus is under control. But that doesn't mean they want to work from home forever. The future for them, a variety of data shows, is to have work weeks split between home and office. Recent surveys show that both employees and employers support this arrangement, and research suggests that a couple of days a week at each location is the magic number to cancel out the negatives of each arrangement while reaping the benefits of both. So this is interesting because it turns out people want to be in the office from time to time for collegiality, for innovation, to be around other people, get new ideas. So it's going to be interesting to see how businesses react to this going forward. Our final story comes from the Department of Justice and the Securities and Exchange Commission. The Bible of FCPA compliance is the FCPA resource guide jointly issued by the SEC and DOJ back in 2012. Well, late July 2nd, nearly, I think, about 5 p.m., the DOJ slipped out that they had updated that in a second edition. So I'm going to be reviewing that this week on the FCPA compliance report, so check it out, and I'll let you know what the significant changes are from the compliance practitioner perspective going forward. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Daily Compliance News, which is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. This month on the Compliance Live, I feature Scott Sullivan. Check it out.